Google's next project. So Jamil, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Dominic. I'm just unlocking my computer here. All right, here's my clicker. Hi, everyone. As Dominic said, I'm Jamil Moledina. I manage strategic partnerships at Google Play, and what that means is that I work horizontally across all of our partners, but I focus primarily on AAA as well as indies and innovators, those that we see as being truly instrumental and influential on our platform in the next 2 to 4 years. So certainly we provide support to all of our current partners, but really that's where most of my focus goes. And the type of work that involves is providing development resources, monetization, consulting, as well as featuring on Google Play. Now, my role also involves Android TV, sourcing and curating all of the content on this emerging platform, as well as storefront improvements, and I'm just going to have to be vague on what that means. So I've been in games for a long time, over a decade, and let's see, I started running Game Developer Magazine, which was a fantastic experience. Started off immediately working with Noah Falstein, who was writing the design column, and John Blow was writing the programming column, so I had a fantastic opportunity to jumpstart into the business. I then ran GDC for a few years, and did business development for Electronic Arts. And again, I had this wonderful opportunity to meet incredibly creative people, the makers of Shank and Death Spank, for example. Great downloadable games. There was a market there. There was an opportunity to publish as a third-party digital games, and no major publisher was doing it at the time. So this was a huge opportunity, and we took it. I then went to Funzio as a VP of Biz Dev. And this was a wonderful opportunity because I'd been more on kind of the outside looking in, and this was the first time I got to go hands-on and have a seat at the table in developing games. We sold the company to Gree, and it gave me a chance to start my own company, Wormhole Games. We made Tank Nation, which was an arcade-style game made for free-to-play in-app purchase mechanics, and we got most things right, and I ended up at Google. So, there's a lot of amazing things happening in the game industry today. There's virtual reality, there's augmented reality, and of course there's kind of the ongoing global phenomenon of smartphones, of platforms. And Android today is the most popular mobile computing platform in the world. And if you kind of imagine that we have 1 billion activated handsets in the world, that's a tremendous market right there. Also, we have 3 out of 4 people who have Android are playing games on them. And so that makes us a very large games platform. And it's, in many cases, the marketplace. It's the place where people feel comfortable getting their games that's important, because they already have their information connected to it. Now, at the same time, this is also, relatively lucrative. There's developers have earned over $7 billion on Google Play over the last 12 months. And if you compare that to the previous 12-month cycle, that was $5 billion. So you can infer a trajectory there. Also, I wanted to give you guys a snapshot of how what our largest markets are. You see that they're typical, as you might expect, UK, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, UK, France, Russia, Australia. But I also want to kind of highlight that we have some emerging markets that we're putting a lot of effort into in terms of direct carrier billing, in terms of gift cards, and that's in Latin American markets like Brazil and Mexico. These are we are a global platform, and these are kind of where some of our efforts are going into. Another key effort is Google Play Game Services. This is a set of tools and technologies that enable indie developers and large developers to get to market without having to worry too much about some of the kind of infrastructure elements that may occupy their time. So it gives developers a chance to focus on just the creative aspects. So I started out mentioning VR. Google has Cardboard, and we've shipped over 500K units as of last December. This is an incredible achievement. And you think about the fact that we hear a lot about VR systems out there in the universe, but this is something that already has an install base. It's something that people get their cardboard games directly on our store. And also some of our partners are making their own versions of cardboard. They have, for example, this is a set by LG, and we're also really amazed and happy that Mattel is making a Viewmaster. I don't know if many of you grew up with the classic click-through Viewmasters. I had one when I was a boy. So awesome. So I'm thrilled to see what this ends up looking like, and of course, fantastic. Another key technology that we've been working with is Tango, Project Tango. And this is a really fascinating piece of technology. It allows you to, it has a wide range camera. It's attached to a standard Android tablet, and it allows you to visualize the room and input your own versions of what you see in the world. And so it's kind of a switch on virtual reality. It's more augmented reality. Noah Falstein, who I mentioned earlier, is one of the key drivers of this project. We have about 2,000 developers that have the dev kits right now, and they're developing a lot of really interesting apps for it. You'll be seeing more about that throughout the year. Now, one of the things that I work on is Android TV, and one of the key things to keep in mind about it is that it's part of the Android platform. So it's an extension of Android and Google Play into the living room. It helps in many ways. It helps our OEM partners who are facing a very fragmented world of smart TVs. So that would be TV manufacturers, set-top box manufacturers, media player manufacturers. And it's also something that is in process. So it's a good time to get on board. There's one device out right now, which is our Nexus player, our reference device. But there's a whole bunch of additional TVs and devices coming out for the rest of this year. Now, it's powered by Google Play. This is what the Android TV store looks like today. It's basically curated and managed in the same way that featuring on Google Play works right now. So there's a relatively small number of titles on there because everything has to be manually selected. There's 80 plus 4-star games on the store to prove out what the opportunity is, to show to OEM partners what is the potential here, to show to developers what's the potential, and just show to consumers what their experience can be on this platform. We have partners like Infinite Dreams, who make Skyforce 2014. And so the opportunity here is to take what is conventionally a portrait game. So their game on Google Play right now plays vertically. But what they did was they adapted this game to play horizontally. And you see that now you can actually have two ships fighting side by side. So they added multiplayer where it didn't exist before. They've added some new elements to their HUD. So it looks and feels like something that you really could play in your living room. So now this is a pretty extreme version of adapting your game. It took these guys a month to make all of these switches. For a lot of developers who have games that are already horizontal in aspect ratio, that are already well suited to gamepad input, it's a much shorter time to get there. Now, our mantra from the very beginning has been quality over quantity. And to look at this opportunity space, it's something where we're featuring high visual fidelity games. This is something that we look for on Google Play anyway, so it naturally dovetails with all of our activities. And we're also looking for high accessibility. So in terms of going to the living room, in terms of families playing together, we're looking for games that you can pick up and play, and also the content is easily accessible. So some examples of the partners that we have involved range from indies to AAA developers. We have Vector Unit's Beach Buggy Racing, which we've been featuring a lot lately in terms of being an early adopter of some of our technologies. Disney's Castle of Illusion, Senri's Leo's Fortune, and Gameloft's Despicable Me. But it's also a great place to go if you're starting out from PC or console. All of these games originated not from Android. For example, Ubisoft's Valiant Hearts, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, and indie hits like The Bridge and Goat Simulator, which is a pretty fun, hilarious game to play. So what we're intending with this is to make it possible for you to run your living room business model on Android TV as well. So you don't have to change the way consumers expect to play your game. Now, on the hardware side, at CES, Sony, Philips, and Sharp showed their TVs running Android TV. So all their smart TVs are going to be featuring this platform. Also, Razer's Android TV powered Forge TV won Best Gaming Product and the Consumer's Choice Award for their effort. So we're really proud of our partner for achieving these designations. Now, I actually love this picture. So what's going on here? So this is a family opening up a box, and what that means is, what this is about is what is the first-time user experience for families opening up their new TVs, their new consumer electronics devices. Being on platform now means that you're in front of these groups. You're in front right when the market starts to crest. So this is a really good time to get onto the platform, because there's going to be a lot of product hitting the market. It's growing organically. People will be naturally getting them on their cable boxes when they switch out their TVs. So the business case will be becoming more apparent. Now, how do you get featured, and how do you get this kind of support on Android TV? Well, this is a snapshot of the business development team. We have our developer advocates out there, so absolutely we'll be able to help you technically. But we have BD folks all over the world. So if you see a region here, take a snapshot and connect up to the name, and be sure to get your game in front of them, because we're all very interested in seeing what you've got going on. And here's another, while you have your cameras up, here's a bunch of resources for you to quickly get a sense of what we've got going on. I didn't want to put my email address on the deck, but it's jamilm@google.com. So I'm reachable under my actual name. And before I close, I wanted to kind of talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, which is this idea that finally, it's kind of the classic game developer's dream, that you have the ability to have the game attached to your player and live seamlessly between phone, tablet, and living room. No longer tethered by device or really thinking about platform or anything else. And we announced something yesterday that really helps a lot with this. We've announced our Nearby Connections API, which is essentially a second screen API, which allows you to play games with your Android phone walking into a room that happens to have Android TV running. And the makers of Lyrical, this is a game coming out soon in which it's kind of a music word quiz game. So you see a word cloud appearing, and the first person to buzz in with the correct name of the song wins that particular round. And they've got a concept for Nearby Connections as well, which I'll show you now. Yeah, these guys are really creative. They're here in the Bay Area, but we work with everyone around the world. Nearby Connections is going to be available with the next update to Google Play Game Services in the next couple of weeks. Now, before I leave you guys, I want to share something that's even closer to home. We've got a lot of technologies that we're sharing that help you realize your dreams, help you go creatively, help you, to encourage you to push your imagination. On a personal front, I've been writing science fiction on the side throughout my career. I wrote a novel. I'm working on a current writing project that I hope to share a little bit more about soon. But I was really saddened recently to hear of the passing of one of my personal heroes, Leonard Nimoy. But I think, you know, his life, his character as Spock, and others like him illustrate that there's always possibilities. And let's see if we can follow that dream and see what we could do together. Thank you, everyone.